Hello students, Michael Sanchez, violin teacher here. Hope you guys are having a great day. So this weekend had a great Labor Day, had a lot of fun things going on. We sort of hung out, spent some extra quality time together, me and my wife, and I hope you guys had a good Labor Day weekend as well. So today we're going to be going through some technique questions, answering some things that you guys have been posting through our networks, and I hope you guys will get a lot out of this class. So if you have any questions about the violin, our website, violintutorpro.com, is a great resource, and I'm trying to do these live classes as much as possible. So some of you guys are maybe beginners, some of you guys maybe are more advanced, but by the end of today, hopefully you'll be able, even if you're at any level, get some good tips. So I'm going to start actually by giving you guys some exciting news. We're giving away a violin watch. So check out this awesome violin watch, treble clef. So somebody's going to win this today. So all you have to do is comment on this post and you'll have a chance to win this awesome treble clef watch. So good luck to all you guys, and it just takes commenting to have a chance, and I'll pick somebody at the very end. Okay, the first question I'm going to choose here is from Carolyn. Carolyn asks, my instructor tells me not to touch any part of the neck of the violin except my thumb and fingertips when learning arm vibrato. She makes it look so easy, but I'm having a difficult time with intonation while doing this. Any advice? Yeah, so as far as vibrato goes, it's very important to have a really good setup. I highly recommend for students to just really focus on left hand setup, as far as if they're not touching the neck properly when approaching vibrato, they're going to have a tough time. So let's actually go through the 4 steps together. It's important to put your thumb on the instrument right about 1 inch away from the nut. It's actually where your first finger is going to land, so that's where our thumb should go. Next, really important, is to keep your hand back. So a lot of students, what they do is they have their hand more here, and it makes it hard to reach that low one. It actually makes their finger angles and their hand have a lot of tension to change. So it's very important to have your thumb, your hand back. Next, have your hand high. Okay. A lot of students, when they play, their hand is touching about here on the fingerboard. It should be more about here. Okay? So if you guys are doing that, if your hand is high, then you're going to have a lot easier time with vibrato. That's sort of the contact point. Step 4 is turn the hand about 1 inch away from the fingerboard, and then just sort of let your fingers fall. So if you do those 4 things, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, fall, your finger angles will line up properly. You'll be able to do a really nice vibrato based on that your fingers will be the only things moving to find the notes. You won't be sort of forcing certain notes, and then ultimately your hand is going to be relaxed right here. It's not going to be tense, and that's going to help you to actually do the vibrato. So as far as contact point, Carolyn, the thumb is touching right here, and then the hand is touching right here. And then make sure that you guys aren't over pressing for vibrato. I find a lot of students sort of over press on that fingerboard. You have to be able to easily move up and down. Basically, when you eventually shift, you want to sort of have that really nice, easy hold on the instrument. So as I'm holding the violin up here, there's no sort of extra grab. It's very loose, but still my thumb and my hand are touching. Very good question. And by the way, everybody that's here right now, all you have to do is comment on this post. You'll have a chance to win my violin watch. It's a gift item on my superiorviolins.com website. So I'll pick one random winner of this violin watch here in a little bit. So maybe comment about how things are going with your violin progress, maybe a question you might have about the violin. Would love to hear your comment. All right, let's go to the next question. This one is from Valerie. Valerie says, I live in a sparsely populated area, no violin players anywhere near. What options do I have to play with other people? Is there a benefit of playing with others? So yeah, Valerie, very good question. So yeah, in different people's areas, there's obviously in some cases a lot of violinists, a lot of groups, but in other cases, and actually I would say more commonly, there's probably nothing in your area. So one tip, one advice would be, if you have a lot of violin teachers in your area, say even like 5 or 6, contact those people and ask them if they have students that would be sort of interested in playing in a group. Because a lot of times that's all it sort of takes to get started, you playing with one other person. That's a really good approach. A lot of really good groups that I've seen over the years have sort of started that way. Obviously, yeah, you could, maybe contact a local university if you guys have it in your area and sort of ask the conductor what he would recommend as far as groups or getting involved. But ultimately, if you don't have anybody in your area, it's sort of tough to sort of, get a group together. So actually what we have with Violin Tutor Pro is a community of violin players, and we actually are establishing this sort of concept for people from all over the world. And all you have to do is log in at either 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, or 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And all you have to do is come into our new platform called Zoom, and you can just sort of hang out with other violin players, get to know them, and eventually you could sort of do a little group hangout where you guys are sort of keeping each other accountable. So far we have about 30 players that are sort of really involved in this concept. It's so fun. They just love going in, just logging in, hanging out, getting to know other violinists. One guy, Paul Clark, he might be watching right now. Hey, Paul. He just sort of plays his violin and, is practicing, and then other violin players come in and hang out. Technically, I scared him to death when I came in and sort of interrupted his session, but just sort of, hey, Paul, how you doing? So yeah, if you guys want to hang out with me and hang out with other players, I highly recommend that. You guys can easily find this group lesson concept on our website at violintutorpro.com. All right, next question. We see here from Jennifer Hatton. Jennifer asks, thanks, Michael. I'm in Sydney. The time is different, but I will be watching your videos from YouTube. Also, I'm doing a little bit of research on shoulder rests. I have a lot of neck pains, started from yoga exercises. What do you recommend as far as someone with a long neck? Yeah, so yeah, a lot of people have sort of long necks, and they sort of need a certain type of shoulder rest potentially. So I highly recommend any sort of shoulder rest that sort of is long, that sort of, is going to be quite a bit far away from the instrument. So coons are good. I wouldn't recommend, say, like just a sponge or something real simple. Try to get something that's sort of elevated from the instrument to sort of help you. But ultimately, you guys should be able to hold the instrument with no hands. I can actually technically do it right now with no shoulder rests, but shoulder rests really help you to hold the instrument properly, because you want to get in the habit of holding it here, and then your hand is free to be able to move up and down and find the notes and shift nice and gracefully. But a lot of students sort of get in the bad habit of holding the violin here instead of here. So definitely try to make sure you guys find a good shoulder rest. Cool. Okay, so just an update. We're giving away a beautiful treble clef watch. This is available at superiorviolins.com, and one of you guys are going to be winning this just by commenting. So I'll pick a winner here at the end of the class. Good luck to you guys. All right, next question is from Dan. Dan asks, I'm about to go into intermediate orchestra and was wondering how to practice my hand for vibrato. Good. So yeah, it's great that you're wanting to learn vibrato, Dan. It's definitely a big step in a violin player's progress. There's two types of vibrato. There's an arm vibrato, which is what I do, and then there's more of a wrist vibrato. So you sort of have to choose which one you want to do. Technically, what you don't want to do is what's called finger vibrato, which a lot of people do. Actually, guitar players sort of do that, sort of do a finger vibrato, which is sort of incorrect. So I highly recommend for you guys to learn either one of these, either a wrist vibrato or a forearm vibrato, which is going to help you guys get a nice, beautiful sound when playing on the violin. So instead of, let's say, Danny Boy, that was no vibrato. Here's vibrato. So yeah, it adds a lot to your playing. So I hope that you develop that, as it's going to definitely help you in intermediate orchestra. All right, let me go to the next question. So thank you guys all for watching tonight. See, about 23 of you are here, so welcome to the class. My next question I'm going to take is from Roy. Roy asks, why is it so difficult to take the time to practice? Yeah, so definitely that's probably the number one reason why students struggle to play violin, is because they sort of get overwhelmed with the concept of, practicing and taking the time. So the biggest thing that I like to emphasize is that you don't have to practice for a long period of time to get a good, efficient practice session. I find that students that practice, say, a half hour or an hour, let's say 4 days a week or 3 days a week, they sort of get into a routine where they're practicing efficiently, and that's what's key to sort of progressing, because people that they sort of give themselves this expectation of 3 hours a day, and then but that eventually sort of dies down, and that can be discouraging. So regarding efficient practicing, it's important that you guys work on fundamentals, work on your drills, work on your scales, work on etudes. Don't just play pieces. Work on your musicality. So it's just sort of things like, if you can just get into a routine, it's really good. So yeah, when somebody goes to the gym, they don't just do random things at the gym. They sort of have a routine set up based on them wanting to get the most out of this half hour they have. So yeah, sort of the same concept for music. So try to for sure do scales, do some drills if you haven't been, and I think more about that than so much like how long you're practicing for. So good. And yeah, I don't know if I sort of answered your question. I sort of went off on a tangent there, didn't I, Roy? Why is it difficult to do that? So yeah, I would say it's difficult because yeah, people just struggle to they make practicing bigger than it really is, right? So some of you guys out there right now watching, you guys are maybe thinking like, one practice session is this big, overwhelming thing that takes a lot of energy and effort. But it's really just, it's like making your bed, it's like, just doing something every day. Just, it's not so much like it has to be this perfect thing that's, done, in 3 hours. And so, yeah, that actually can discourage you and make you sort of quit the race. So, playing the violin is a marathon, and it takes time to develop skill. So, all right, let me go on to the next question from, I see, Miss or Mrs. Sam says, I have a problem practicing sometimes because I'm worried about being too loud. So I was thinking of practicing on another floor above people. Just related to, okay, also soundproofing. Do you recommend soundproofing in the space that I'm in? You can. The only thing is that you really don't need to, I don't think, because violin mutes technically work really well. So if you guys have never seen a violin practice mute, it's basically a little bridge, like rubber piece, and it goes right on top of your bridge, and it actually limits the sound of your violin by about 85%. So being that the violin is pretty loud, this violin practice mute can actually really help you to be able to, not disturb others, maybe if you live in an apartment. So I recommend that for people that sort of have that worry. So definitely try that out. You can get violin practice mutes anywhere, Amazon.com, at our website as well, at superiorviolins.com. But that would be a good tool if you're sort of worried about that too loud a violin sound. So you're not the only one. Good. So hey, let me see some more comments. Anybody that's watching has a chance to win my beautiful treble clef watch. So good luck to you guys. All you got to do is post on this comment. You'll have a chance to win. Good. So yeah, I'll answer a couple more questions here in a little bit. I want to talk a little bit more about my violin group classes. So basically the concept is that you'll see me just like you are right now in my new violin group classes. And we have, say, 3 people in a class or 4 people in a class. And what I do is I can watch you play. I can sort of give you direct feedback. We have 6 other teachers that are signed up doing these classes. And they're really great because then we can actually tell you exactly what you're doing wrong, what you can improve on. And each class goes for either a half hour or an hour. And they're just the next best thing by far to a private lesson. And it gives you access to just, great violin teachers from all over the world. We, like I said, have about 6 teachers. We have a Juilliard graduate teacher. We have a professional fiddle teacher. I'm also teaching classes. I just had actually a full class yesterday of 6 students. We were working on Suzuki Book 1, scales, then Wolfart, then Suzuki. So I basically give the students an assignment, sort of help them to understand what they should be working on. And then they go home happy, and hopefully find, you know, that they're improving. And definitely I think just being in that mode of getting assignments and getting things to practice and, you know, having the ability to stay accountable is a really good way to improve on the violin. So the way to sign up, it's really easy. You just go to violintutorpro.com. Have an entire sort of page set up for it. We have all the classes that are being offered on that page, our group lessons page. And we have free introductory courses. And this was actually the idea of our teachers because they want to sort of have an opportunity to get to know the students, sort of cast the vision of the class they're going to do. And those are absolutely free, and that sort of gives you guys the ability to you know, see if this is going to be something you like. So yeah, and you know, sort of, you know, I'm this visionary, I'm always creating new things. So I sort of thought outside the box even farther, and I was thinking, well, what if I create a way for students and teachers just to sort of log in anytime and sort of just get to know other people, you know, just randomly. So a lot of people have been just loving this new concept of group classes and just sort of hangouts. And the way that that works is you download Zoom on your smartphone, really easy. Everybody knows how to download something on their smartphone. And then there's a meeting ID, and you just put the meeting ID in and it logs you into our system. I actually surprised 2 or 3 people today because they logged in and all of a sudden they were talking right to me. They just were like, you know, like they showed up at my door and we started talking. So it's really cool. It's a great way to sort of connect with you guys more, get to know you guys, and tell you more about what we're doing. So I encourage you guys, download Zoom, then put in that meeting ID and you're right in. There's also a link I can give you to sort of get into it. That's another option. I will post that here on this Facebook post on how to get in. But yeah, I mean, just think of it. You can log in, you can just practice with each other, you can you know, get to know other people that have come a lot to the classes and sort of just talk about violin with them. I think it's a really fun thing. It's like, you know, otherwise you can sort of be in this world of, you know, I'm just playing violin by myself and nobody knows who I am. And so there's just hundreds and hundreds of adult students that follow me. And we're trying to just to network you guys together, you know, because I think of, you know, somebody in my local area that learns violin by themselves, that's an adult, they're sort of maybe overwhelmed, you know, with learning, and they might think, oh, nobody else is doing this, and then eventually they get discouraged and quit. So we don't want that to happen to you. We want you guys to stay into the violin and ultimately improve. So very good. So I'm going to answer a couple more questions. Yeah, I should actually give you guys quickly the meeting ID as well of that Zoom, how to get into Zoom. So I'm just going to tell you that real quick. If you guys want to write this down as far as the ID once you download the Zoom software. By the way, we're going to be in there right after this class at 8 o'clock Eastern time, because every day, 10 a.m., 8 p.m., 11:30 p.m., people just log in and hang out. So the meeting ID is 503-666-867. So I'll say that again. It's 503-666-867. So basically, you guys can log into that anytime throughout the day, and it will show you, you'll basically be in a video conference. And you don't have to be on video, you don't have to be on audio, even you can just watch, you can just hang out. But you'll be able to listen to other people talk about violin, you'll be able to see other teachers talking to students. And then, yeah, you can just log in anytime. Those times that I gave you, that's sort of my way of giving you guys an idea of maybe when other people will be there. But eventually, I mean, you can just log in anytime, there'll be people there. So I would say there's about 30 of us right now that are just like really into it. It's really fun. It's fun getting to know everybody, and I really enjoy it, and others are as well. So one more time, the way to do it, download Zoom on your smartphones, put in the meeting ID 503-666-867, and come at 10 a.m., 8 p.m., which is right after this, and 11:30 p.m., any day of the week. All right, let me answer just a couple more questions here. And again, if you guys comment on this post, you'll have a chance to win a violin watch. So I'm just giving away a free prize. I'd like to do that as much as I can. So just comment on this post for a chance to win. All right, next question is going to come from, let's see, Victoria asks, how can I tell when my violin strings are dead? Good question. So yeah, violin strings can go dead, you know, if they're being played a lot over, say, a year or two's period of time. The way that you can sort of tell is, you know, your violin strings don't really ring as much. So if I take, say, a G, and I have to make sure I'm right on G, you notice how my strings continue to ring, like they sort of have this ongoing effect. You have to make sure you're right on the G, like that. So if you notice that that doesn't happen as much, then that could easily tell you that your strings are sort of dead. So normally I would say, yeah, a year or two of playing, say, an hour or two a week, that would probably be the time where your strings would sort of be dead. If you have synthetic strings like obligatos or Vibrato strings, those are really good quality strings. Those don't last as long. Normally those last about half as much time, but they sound really good. So obligato, Vibrato strings. But yeah, if you practice like every day, 3 hours, you might have to get new strings every 6 months or a year. So that's sort of the way to tell. All right. Next question from Thornton. Thornton's actually a violin teacher. Appreciate your question, Thornton. He has a question on violin making. What made the varnish used by the Stradivarius makers so special? Yeah, so for those of you guys that don't know, Stradivarius violins are by far the best violins in the world. They're millions and millions of dollars. By the way, if you guys have never seen The Red Violin, I highly recommend watching The Red Violin. It's an awesome movie with Samuel L. Jackson. But anyways, that actually takes you in time of a violin that's sort of a Stradivarius quality and shows you sort of the time periods of when it was played and how it was played. It's sort of a really cool movie. But Stradivarius violins are the best in the world. Amati violins are very popular as well. These are $1 million instruments. And technically a violin actually is more valuable if it's older. So like these violins that I just talked to you about, Stradivarius, there's probably about 500 that originally were made. There's only about 200 left in the world. And those violins were made in the 1700s. So very, very popular and well-made, obviously, violins. The varnish they used was incredible. I did play on a Stradivarius about, I think, 10 years ago. Playing up on the upper register of the G string, just outstanding sound. It was like playing like butter. It was like you couldn't go wrong. I also got to play on that Strad with a $50,000 bow. So believe it or not, that's not even like the most valuable bow out there. There's this incredible quality bows out there. That was a French Picat bow. But yeah, that was a good time. But yeah, just the way they made instruments was outstanding. And then violins technically appreciate with time. So unlike a car, which depreciates in time, violins normally go up in value about 1% per year. So that just tells you that, you know, violins are, you know, very, very nice when they sort of break in. When you've had them for even 10 years, they're going to sound a lot better than they did when you first got it. If you're finding that your violin's sounding worse over time, like you got it and now it sounds worse, it's probably the setup, it's probably the strings, it's probably that things like the tailpiece distance to the bridge is sort of a smaller distance, which means that the tailpiece is not stretched as far, and that means that your violin projection might be sort of dead. So yeah, if you guys are feeling like your violin doesn't sound as good, you know, definitely recommend a violin sound post adjustment, a string, or a tailpiece stretch. Those things can make a big difference. So yeah, and then just obviously the quality of a violin, the quality of an instrument makes a huge difference in the quality of sound. So, you know, something that you buy on eBay or Amazon for, you know, a couple $100 is not going to sound very good. But something that's, you know, handcrafted, handmade, something that's maybe older, has good setup is going to sound really, really nice. So, all right, well, hope you guys have been enjoying this sort of class. We're going to be actually doing these classes. I want you guys to write this down, put it in your schedules. Every Monday and Wednesday, every single week for the whole entire fall, I'm going to stick to this. 7:30 is the time I'm going to be doing these. So if you guys ask a question at violintutorpro.com, you can actually tell us, hey, I want Michael to answer this question in the live feeds. These are the live feeds, Facebook Live sessions. And my manager is actually organizing it to where your questions will go into a spreadsheet that I'm seeing right here and I'm sort of going through and answering these questions. So, by the way, I still have like 5 pages of questions I'm going to get through eventually. So yeah, every Monday and Wednesday night, hopefully you guys write that down. I'll be doing these live feeds at 7:30, and technically right after the feed, we're going to be going right into our hangout, which is going to be right now in just a minute. And you guys will be able to hang out with other players, get to know each other, ask me a personal question, because I definitely will be, I'm here, I'm going to go right into there right afterwards. So yeah, get to know our community, come hang out with us. So, all right, well, I'm going to give away the watch now. So good luck to anybody that commented. I'm going to pick a random winner. And then right afterwards, I encourage you guys to go and hang out with us in the group lesson. So again, to do that, it's go download the Zoom app on your smartphone and then put in the meeting ID, which is 503-666-867. You'll go right into it. You'll be able to be right in there. You can turn your video and audio off and just watch. You don't have to actually be on video. All right, let me pick a winner. All right. So let's see here. I'm going to sort of pick a random person. So the winner of the violin watch is, drum roll please, David Kemp. David, congratulations. You have just won the treble clef watch. Congrats. Email me at michael@superiorviolins.com to claim your prize. And hope it's something that's something you'll wear. So there's up close. Congratulations. All right, well, hope you guys have a great day. If you guys are watching this after the fact, come hang out with us at 10 a.m., like I said, 8 p.m. every day, and 11:30 p.m. Log in, and hope to see you guys there. So thanks for watching. See you in a little bit. See you in a second.